1959. Parth slowly opened his eyes. The first thing he noticed was the ceiling. It was painted white with decorative wooden borders running along the edges. A large brass fan hung overhead, completely still. Sunlight entered through partially opened curtains and illuminated the room with a soft golden glow. For a few moments, he simply stared upward without moving. His mind felt unusually heavy. It was not the kind of exhaustion caused by lack of sleep. Rather, it felt as though two entirely different lives had been forcefully squeezed into a single brain. One life belonged to Akash Patel. The other belonged to Parth Shah. The memories mixed together like two rivers merging into one. Akash remembered spending decades studying economics, history, military campaigns, politics, and business. He remembered heated debates with friends regarding India's economic policies. He remembered reading hundreds of books about the rise and fall of nations, the Industrial Revolution, the World Wars, and the economic miracles of countries such as Japan, South Korea, Singapore, and China. Most importantly, he remembered dying. That memory remained crystal clear. There had been no warning signs. No unbearable pain. No dramatic final moments. One moment he had been asleep, and the next he found himself surrounded by endless darkness. Then came the light. A brilliant white light that had swallowed everything. After that, nothing made sense. At least until he woke up here. Parth slowly sat up on the bed and rubbed his forehead. The room around him was far more luxurious than anything he had personally owned in his previous life. The bed frame was made from polished teak wood. The wardrobe standing near the wall looked handmade. A thick Persian carpet covered most of the floor. Near the window stood a large writing desk with several neatly stacked books resting upon it. Even without examining the room carefully, it was obvious that the owner belonged to a wealthy family. His gaze eventually landed on a calendar hanging near the door. January 1959. The sight immediately made him pause. Although he already possessed Parth's memories, seeing the date with his own eyes still felt surreal. Independent India was barely a decade old. The constitution itself was less than 10 years old. The nation was still under the leadership of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. Large-scale industrialization had only recently begun. The license Raj was expanding. State-controlled economic planning dominated national policy. Foreign exchange was heavily restricted. Private businesses faced endless regulations. As an economist, Akash had spent years studying the consequences of these policies. Now he was living in the middle of that era. A strange smile appeared on his face. Most people dreamed about traveling to the future. Very few had the opportunity to travel into the past. Especially with the knowledge of everything that would happen over the next 60 years. The future was the economic reforms, the rise of technology, the green revolution, the emergence of India's private sector, the creation of Gujarat itself. The information inside his head alone was worth more than any fortune. Of course, possessing knowledge and utilizing it successfully were two entirely different things. History was not a railway track. One small change could produce completely different outcomes. Akash understood that better than most. He stood up and slowly walked toward the window. Outside, the city of Ahmedabad stretched before him. The streets were much quieter than the Ahmedabad he remembered from history books and photographs. The number of vehicles was relatively small. Bicycles dominated the roads. Occasional buses moved through the streets. People walked at a slower pace. There were no mobile phones. No internet. No computers. No air-conditioned office towers dominating the skyline. Yet there was something strangely refreshing about the scene. The city felt alive. Real. Untouched by the constant rush of modern life. As he continued observing the surroundings, more of Parth's memories surfaced naturally. Rewritten Shah. His father. One of the leading figures of the Mahagujarat movement. The movement demanding a separate state for Gujarati-speaking people. Although the demand had been growing for years, recent events had significantly increased public support. Mass gatherings had become common. Political tensions were steadily rising. Many people believed that the creation of Gujarat was only a matter of time. Rewritten himself was already an influential figure within the region. As MLA of Ellisbridge constituency, he enjoyed substantial support among traders, businessmen, and local communities. However, what interested Akash the most was not his father's popularity. It was his father's ideology. Despite being a member of Congress, Rewritten strongly supported free markets and private enterprise. He frequently argued that governments should focus on governance rather than attempting to control every aspect of economic activity. For someone living in 1959 India, such views were highly unusual. The more Akash learned about his new father, the more curious he became. Interesting. He muttered quietly. Many of his future plans would become significantly easier if Rewritten truly held those beliefs. Just then, a knock sounded from outside the room. "Young master, are you awake?" A female voice came through the door. The memories immediately supplied the answer. Rukmini. A servant who had worked for the family for nearly a decade. Parth cleared his throat. "Yes. Your father is already downstairs. He asked if you would join him for breakfast. I'll be there shortly." The footsteps gradually disappeared. Parth glanced at his reflection in a nearby mirror. For a moment, he was slightly stunned. The face staring back at him was undeniably handsome. Sharp features. Clear skin. Well-maintained hair. A healthy physique. Compared to his previous life, this body possessed considerably better genetics. At least transmigration had not treated him poorly. While he was still examining his reflection, a sudden sound echoed inside his mind. Ding! The sound was crisp and mechanical. Parth immediately frowned. This time there was no possibility of mistaking it for something else. The sound had originated directly inside his head. Before he could react further, a translucent screen materialized in front of him. The screen floated in midair as though it were completely ignoring the laws of physics. Several golden words slowly appeared. Greatest Leader System. System activated. Activation gift available. If someone had told him yesterday that he would die, travel back to 1959, inherit another person's body, and receive a mysterious system, he would have recommended psychiatric treatment. Now all of those things had happened within a single day. Parth stared at the screen for several seconds before finally accepting that this was real as well. After all, if transmigration was possible, then the appearance of a system wasn't particularly difficult to believe. He focused his attention on the activation gift. The screen immediately displayed several rewards. Activation rewards. 1. Student level 9 physical strength. Advanced God of War level physical strength. 2. Student level 9 spiritual strength. Advanced God of War level mental strength. 3. Max level speaking skills. Greatly enhanced by mental strength. 4. Puppetry ability. Can convert up to 10 living beings into loyal puppets incapable of disobedience. Current limit, 10. Without wasting any time, he immediately spoke. System, redeem everything. The screen flickered. A small dog suddenly appeared on the screen. Unlike what he had expected from a mysterious system, the dog looked surprisingly cute. Okay, boss, it said cheerfully. The moment the words left its mouth, a stream of white energy emerged from the screen and entered Parth's body. An intense warmth spread through every part of him. Impurities were expelled. His muscles tightened. His bones strengthened. His senses became sharper. The transformation wasn't painful, but it was impossible to ignore. Every second, he could feel his body becoming stronger than before. It was as if years of training were being compressed into a few short moments. Only after several minutes did the energy finally disappear. Parth slowly stood up from the bed. The world around him appeared clearer than before. Even the distant sounds coming from outside the mansion seemed easy to hear. He clenched his fist experimentally. A strange feeling of power coursed through his body. For the first time since arriving in this unfamiliar era, he felt a genuine sense of confidence. The future remained uncertain, but at least he now possessed the ability to influence it.